Welcome in, everybody, to Betting Pros. It's me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, and today it is week one. That's right. It is the college football real season. We did week 0. That felt weird. Week 1, that feels right, and it always feels right to talk college football with our good friend Scott Bogman. You can follow him on the Twitter machine at Bogman Sports, and of course, check out all his great work at Fantasy Pros and as well in this league, one of the generals of the In This League Army. You could join them over on Patreon. I know you're excited, Boggs, because college football is your deal. And here we are, week 1. Now this feels like we're really getting a kickoff. I saw a few plays here and there, a few moments of week 0, but week 1, this is where the rubber hits the road, my friend.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
What a beautiful singing voice.
Love it. I love it. I'm excited for real week 1. I mean, you know, I don't know if you could call Nebraska and Illinois a real game. Good Lord, that was terrible. I thought UTEP and New Mexico State was bad. And Illinois and Nebraska, I mean, Scott Frost is on the hottest of seats already. Did you see all the memes? All of the,
I did.
You know, they are no longer investigating extra practice time for Nebraska. They just lost to Illinois. So all that stuff. It was almost as good as the Bishop Sycamore stuff. So
the Bishop Sycamore is amazing. Like, let me tell you
something. See the Manti Te'o ones?
No, those I haven't seen, but the Bishop Sycamore thing, that whole thing is just the most amazing.
The meme is Manti Te'o getting interviewed, and the quote is, "Yeah, my girlfriend went to Bishop Sycamore." So
there you go.
Oh man, brutal. The internet is undefeated.
Week 0 was more like a grade for what we saw last week. So hopefully this will be better. And want to kick things off here. We're just going to jump right in. No waiting because we got a lot of games to get to. Let's start with Boise State on the road at UCF. That's Thursday night. UCF favored by 5.5. The over-under for this game is at 68.5. Pretty high number here. We got 2 new head coaches in this game. So Boggs, walk me through it.
Yeah, we are starting out with one of the hardest games of the week to pick because this should be a really fun one on a Thursday night. For me, I know a lot of money is being put on both sides. I think the betting, it's like 52% of bets are being placed on UCF, 48% on Boise State. So this one is pretty dead even, both with new head coaches. I'm going to take UCF at home. Boise State has to travel pretty far. Their offense is still one of the best in college football. So I'm going to take UCF here. Boise State is a strong team, and I would not be surprised if they went into Orlando and won straight up. It would not shock me. But so what I'll say is if I'm betting my own actual hard-earned dollars, it ain't going to be on this game. But
all right.
Because it's a nationally televised game, we're talking about it. We're talking about all the nationally televised games on ESPN, Fox, CBS, NBC, ABC this week. So I'll take UCF minus the 5.5 because they're at home. But because both offenses are strong, and mainly UCF is going to score on anybody. They should. And Boise State, their offense isn't as strong as UCF, but UCF's defense is not that great either. I'm going to take the over 68.5, which is a high over. But like I said, I'm not touching this one with a 10-foot pole with my actual dollars, but if I have to pick, I'm going UCF, and I'm taking the over 16.
Well, stay away is a perfectly good thing to tell people.
Yes,
I always say
absolutely.
That. Sometimes the best bet is no bet.
We got a couple of those on this slate, but there's a couple that I'm pretty confident on, too. So
we're going to keep it real here on the show. That's what we do. So let's go to the next one here, Ohio State at Minnesota. I was actually surprised that Ohio State was only minus 14 favorites here. I thought it would have been a little bit more, to tell you the truth. 62.5. I just think Ohio State's going to come out guns a-blazing. I understand that it's on the road, and I get that's also part of it. But what are your thoughts here in the new turnover of going away from Justin Fields? And now we've got new quarterback under center and, a new offense running here with Ohio State under a new QB.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. That is why this number is low at 2 touchdowns at 14 in Ohio State's favor. They are on the road. They do have C.J. Stroud, a new quarterback, taking over. But look, Minnesota has had some good years, and Fleck's a good coach and everything. But, Ohio State is dominant, and they are going to dominate the Big Ten. I expect them to make the tournament again this year. A road bump could happen for them, but I don't think it's going to come week 1.
I was going to say a week 1 road bump, Boggs. That sounds tough, and Ohio State's going to be prepared, and they know everybody's watching. I know it's on the road, but I gotta lean Ohio State here even with the 14. And I know it's 2 touchdowns, but still, it's Ohio State, and I think they've got a little bit to prove here coming out after last year, the way they all went down.
They do. The only 4 teams make this tournament, so you gotta stay on target, on point here. I expect them to win, and I expect them to win going away by more than 14. So the 62.5, I'm less confident in. I would take the under because Ohio State is kind of putting together, not a new offense, but new players on the offense. So maybe there'll be a couple hiccups in the first half. I mean, we've seen teams do that before. Remember, I think Alabama and Duke were tied at halftime in a week 1 or week 2 a couple years ago. Just, sometimes you hit bumps. So I'll take the under on that. But my more aggressive bet would be Ohio State minus the 14.
Okay, another team that's lost some guys to the NFL draft, North Carolina. They're going to be heading to Virginia Tech on Friday night on ESPN. UNC is favored by 5.5. The over-under on this one is 64.5. So, again, a little different here. Javonte Williams not there anymore, so some new running backs taking over. What do you think of this new crop in North Carolina, and can they cover this 5.5?
Yeah, I think they're going to cover the 5.5. They have 9 returning starters on defense. I think 3/5 of the offensive line is returning for UNC as well. Sam Howell, who could be the number 1 pick in the NFL draft next year, is still their quarterback. And last year, this game put up over 1,000 yards and 100 points. So I expect, last year was weird. The less practice time, right. The defenses and all that stuff. You had guys on the COVID list pretty much every single week. So last year was weird. So I don't think it's going to go over 100 points again. But I will take the over here on the 64.5. And I am going to take UNC. This is a tough road game to start in Blacksburg, but they have really good guys who played. Josh Downs is going to be a fun wide receiver to watch for this team. They brought in Ty Chandler from Tennessee at running back, and he's going to carry a big chunk of the load here. So I like UNC to win this game, and I like the over 64.5.
Next on the docket, Michigan State at Northwestern. Again, that's Friday night game. Boggs, I don't know. I was not nearly as impressed with Northwestern as everybody else seemed to be last year. I don't know. It seemed like we were getting a lot of buzz, and then I watched a couple games, and I was just like, all right, I don't really quite get it. What are your thoughts on this game? Is this another stay away from you?
Oh, absolutely. This game is terrible. I hate that it's nationally televised. I'd rather watch UTEP and New Mexico State. I tell you what, I don't know if you got to watch any of that UTEP New Mexico State game, but the week 0 is what I'd rate the TV person, the camera guy for this game. Really? The camera guy was getting faked out by more play actions than the defense was. I had no idea where the ball was. They must have had an intern doing it week 1. It was unbelievably terrible. But for this game, if you like Northwestern last year, that's great. But they have 3 offensive linemen returning. That's it on offense. And 5 returning starters on defense. That's it. So this is a completely different team. I believe they're 128th in returning production from last year, Northwestern. So I don't really like this game, and I would not bet it because I have no confidence in either side here. But Michigan State brought in a lot of transfers, so I'll take them plus the 3, and I'll go under 46 because this is going to look like an old, crappy Big Ten 17-10 game or some nonsense like that. So give me Michigan State, and I'll take the under.
Oklahoma at Tulane.
Well, now it's actually been reversed because of Hurricane Ida.
Right.
This game is now going to be played in Norman, so I didn't switch it on our sheet, but it is now Tulane.
Oh, that's
at
right.
Oklahoma.
Yeah, it did get moved because of the hurricane. So now that's been flipped over and moved, the number is minus 31 over on that side for Oklahoma, and then you have over under at 68.5. So 31, it's a pretty big number. I mean, I know this is kind of a gimme cake on the schedule, and now they're getting it in Norman. So do you feel like that's still something you're going to go with, the 31?
Yeah, I mean, look, I would rather bet on Oklahoma minus the 31 than Michigan State plus the 3, to be honest with you. I think this is going to be an absolute...
That says a lot, my friend.
It does. It does. I mean, this should be an Oklahoma absolute walk. They get an unexpected home game. The players in Tulane have a lot more important things on their mind than football, with Hurricane Ida going through their city in New Orleans. So this one should be Oklahoma in a smash. It's a giant number, though, and just as a rule, I don't like to bet gigantic numbers. I will if I think that the number is going to be much bigger than the big number, but that's a rare spot. This might be one of those rare spots, though. I like Oklahoma to win big, to win going away. And if Tulane's going to cover, it's probably going to be a backdoor cover. Oklahoma has had some issues starting the season. They did last year, but I think Rattler has kind of gotten the young stuff out of the way now, and he's going to lead this team pretty well. Well, it makes me sick saying that. But I do like Oklahoma in a walk, and I will also go the over 68.5.
Yeah, well, Rattler up the top there for the Heisman. A lot of eyes on him this year. We'll see if he gets off to a good start. Alabama at Miami, Atlanta, by the way.
Versus Miami in Atlanta.
Right, that's what I mean, in Atlanta. And once again, this game, I think we look at it and it's a measuring stick, I think, for Miami, don't you think, at this point? Like, that's what it is. It's how good do you think you've gotten this program now? Alabama, clearly the favorites, obviously, 18.5. Actually, I'm a little surprised that number's only 18.5. I know it's just coming out of the gate here. The over-under for this game is 61.5. But, Boggs, I mean, this is Alabama. 18.5, I understand Miami's got some talent, but 18.5, I just still don't put Miami anywhere near to the same class as Alabama. This one surprised me a little bit. What are your thoughts on Alabama this week?
Yeah, look, the number. So I'm sorry. Were you 8.5? You're surprised it's so big or it's so little?
So little. Little.
Miami,
I would have thought this would have been 21 easily.
Dude, Miami's a really good team. Like,
I understand that.
If someone's going to challenge Clemson, it's going to be Miami, right? But this is a brutal opening game.
I was going to say, this is Alabama week 1. It is. Coming off a national championship. Like, I mean,
but Bama loses their quarterback. They lose Mac
but they
Jones
lose their quarterback
gone.
Every year.
They lose Najee Harris, their leading rusher.
I know.
Gone.
They lost Waddle.
They lost their Heisman winner, Devontae Smith. Gone. But they reload every year. And this is D'Eriq King's first game coming off of his ACL surgery as well.
Right.
So, look, there's sharp money on Miami, but there's also sharp money on Bama. And for me, the matchup comes down to this Alabama defensive line against what is a shaky Miami defensive line or offensive line, excuse me. So I think that up front, Bama just has one of the best lines in the country. They always do. And they are just going to slaughter this Miami line. Now, if that doesn't work out the way I think it is, this is going to be a game. Because Miami can match point for point. If they can give D'Eriq King a little bit of time, he's going to sling it, and he can run, even coming off this ACL surgery. So he's a really, really good quarterback. I'm excited to watch him play in this game. I just don't think that they have it in them. So for me, it's going to be Bama minus 18.5, but I will take the under 61.5. Once again, like we mentioned with Ohio State, you're replacing so much of the offense, maybe it takes you a couple quarters to get clicking on all cylinders. So for that, I'll take the under, but I got Bama minus the points here.
I'm going to take Bama as well. And I know, I just, like I said, when I saw the 18.5, it automatically was like, how is that not 21 or more? Like, and I'm not trying to throw shade at Miami. I'm just trying to say, look, hey.
Miami's a good squad, dude.
They're a good squad.
They're a
you're
top
measuring
10
yourself
team
against the perennial national juggernaut. And that is a different story. And I feel like they're going to get checked. Now, look, the argument is maybe you do catch them napping, right? Maybe they do have a lot of changeover and things aren't clicking yet and all that stuff. So that's not impossible. What a story that would be. We come back next week and that happens. But I wouldn't put any money in it. I'm sorry, I'm just not investing in that. I think
it might be enough for Miami to just stay close to Bama. Because when you get into this voting to get in the tournament and stuff, because you can lose to Bama and still win the ACC. So,
if they lose by 10.
Right. They keep it within 10 points or a touchdown or something like that. People are gonna be talking about how great Miami looked and how bad Bama looked, right? Yeah, Bama even in a win, they'd be talking about how bad Bama looks if they only lose or if they only win by a touchdown. But it's a big measuring stick, and it's just, this is the team that you prepare for all offseason. I mean, Miami had all offseason to prepare for Bama, too. And they're replacing a lot of coordinators. Steve Sarkisian goes over to Texas this year. So you can talk yourself into Miami if you sit down and look at everything.
I think the number is 18.5. I think people are talking themselves into a circle. And the one thing you have to talk yourself back into, it's Alabama. Have we been watching for the last decade? It's Alabama. They have the turnover. They're used to losing coaches. They lose 10 players in the draft every year.
Every single year. They just restock, reload. It doesn't matter. And now with the transfer rule, I know Bama, I think Saban said No, it wasn't Saban. I think it was Dabo. But, maybe those big teams don't like it because their guys can transfer if they're not getting playing time or whatever. But there are also guys that transfer in. Henry Toyota was one of the best linebackers in the country from Tennessee, and he transferred into Bama. He's going to be starting for them this year. So, it's a little crazy to see that stuff, and they rack up talent every single year, and this game is going to be no different.
And it's going to be a great game to watch.
It's going to be fun.
Because you want to see what Miami's got now. You want to see where
I would be more surprised, though, if this isn't a snoozer the third way, after the third quarter, you're just like, I can go watch something else. I would be more surprised if it's close in the fourth quarter than if it's a snoozer in the third. So
fair enough. All right, let's move on to the next one here. Penn State traveling to Wisconsin. Wisconsin is 5.5-point favorites. The over-under in this one is 50, a bit of a lower number. Your thoughts on Penn State on the road?
Oh, Penn State was so god-awful last year. I mean, it started out 0-5. It was just rough to watch them. So it's hard to not take Wisconsin. I am not betting this game on either side. I'll just tell you that right now. I would take Wisconsin minus a 5.5 as they're at home, and Penn State started out so bad last year, and they have a lot of the same players coming back. And I'll take the under 50. I think this is going to be a Big Ten type of a slugfest. Graham Mertz on Wisconsin side looked real good. Had some COVID stuff going on last year, so missed a decent chunk of games. They got new running backs. So I'll take Wisconsin because they're at home, but I am staying far away from this game. I'm interested to see how this one plays out, though. This was one I'll definitely be keeping my eye on.
Louisiana travels to Texas to take on your Longhorns. Texas favored by 8.5. The over-under in this one's 58. So you think that Texas gets off to the good start here and gets a W first out of the gate?
I think they do. And, look, you could take that with a grain of salt. I'm not fooling anyone. I'm a Texas fan through and through. I'm probably going to pick them every week. They're on national TV. So with that being said, if you don't want to listen to me, don't. But here's why I'll take Texas. And I think the best thing for Texas in this game is that Louisiana beat Iowa State in Ames last year. At Iowa State, they beat them. So I think because of that, there's no way Texas can overlook Louisiana. Louisiana is a good squad. And specifically, their secondary was great. They forced 16 turnovers last year. They held people. That's how they beat Iowa State last year, forcing turnovers. And, there's a brand new starter, Hudson Card, for Texas in this game. But Bijan Robinson, the running back for Texas, is on the Heisman watch list for sure. He's amazing. A lot of fun to watch. Tucson product. Love watching him. I think they're gonna beat him on the ground. I think they're gonna beat him up front, and I think it's gonna be tough for Louisiana to keep pace with this team. So I'm gonna take Texas on the minus the 8.5, and I will also take the over 58.
All right, LSU coming off a rough season last year. They will travel opening up week 1 in UCLA, which is a better team than I think people might realize. So there might be a little upset here potentially, I think, that you've got in store.
Dude, I think UCLA wins this game. I do. Look, LSU's roster is stronger. If you look at 247 ratings and stuff like that, I mean, LSU just stacks on stacks on stacks. Still, absolutely. Right. They're an SEC team. They're coming off 2 years ago, Joe Burrow, and one of the most historic offenses in college football history and all that stuff. But they're not that same team right now. And UCLA is 5-1 straight up in their last 6 games against the SEC. They looked really good against Hawaii. Granted, it was Hawaii. They were at home, all of that stuff. But they looked like a Chip Kelly national title contender that they had going on at Oregon last week. We saw Zach Charbonnet, who they pretty much picked up off the scrap heap from Michigan, scored 3 touchdowns. Britton Brown came over from Duke, scored a touchdown himself. DTR didn't even have to show off his wheels, and he looked pretty good, much better throwing the ball than I've ever seen him. So they look sharp, and they had a tune-up game as well. LSU is starting a new quarterback in Max Johnson. I'm just not confident in them at all. So I'm going to take UCLA plus the 3. I'll go over 65, which might be hedging both sides a little bit, but give me the Bruins here. I think that they win this game straight up.
All right, let's go to another one here. We talked about in the preseason show about Georgia. Well, is this going to be the Georgia year where every year we hear the hype about Georgia and it tends to fall a little flat? They're going to open things up versus Clemson here. So what are your thoughts on this game that's going to be on ABC this weekend?
Yeah, this one is, at a neutral site, right. We'll say. It's still in North Carolina, B of A Stadium where the Panthers play. But
we got a game moved to Norman. We've got a game moved from Miami to Atlanta. We've got a game also now moved to B of A, right?
Well, these aren't moved. These are just neutral sites,
neutral
just playing
site,
in a bigger stadium here. But JT Daniels just made a huge difference for Georgia last year. With them averaging over 40 points a game with him, I got to go with Georgia here. And this is really the time that they need to step up and show something. Like you said, they have they just tend to choke on the big stage here recently. So I think they're going to win this game straight up. They get points too. So UGA +3, this 50.5. I can't abide by that. I got to go over the 50.5, but I'm more interested in Georgia +3. This is a tough game to bet because both these teams are so good. This might be one you want to lay your money away from. I got another game I'm very confident in that we'll be coming up to that I'd much rather pay up for. You might want to just stay away from the money on this game and watch it to have some fun. But if you are betting this, I like the Georgia side here.
All right, Western Michigan at Michigan. So, Boggs, have we hit a new low? Is this it here for Michigan? It seems like it's continuously going in a downward trajectory here for Harbaugh. And, I just keep waiting, and then every year we come back here, and he's still here. So, Western Michigan at Michigan. Dare I say, what side do you like in this one?
Man, you're absolutely right about just, hitting a low for Michigan.
Right?
I'll say this.
Can you imagine? We're even sitting here in 2021 talking about this what do you guys think? You think maybe Western Michigan has a shot against Michigan?
I don't think straight up they have a shot, right?
Okay.
That would be Appalachian
That would be insane,
State.
but can they cover the 17?
They can cover the 17. I have no faith in Cade McNamara and this guerrilla offense that Michigan runs. They run, our buddy John Lobb calls it the Neanderthal offense, where it's you run 6 different backs 10 times a piece, and they're all averaging 3.5 yards per carry. It is slow. It is methodical. It is not great. I'd much rather have seen
Where's
them.
Tyrone Wheatley when you need him?
Good Lord. Give me some Timbiaka Batuka, right? So, I'll take all those old Michigan backs. But, they don't go with one guy. That's why Charbonnet left and went to UCLA. Right. But I like Western Michigan plus the 17. I cannot imagine how this game gets to over 67. Not with the way that Michigan runs the ball. So
the safest thing is just to go the under here. Then,
yeah, I take the under, but I think that. But
why even bother? Why even mess around with the 17? Right? They shouldn't be in the same class, and maybe
they shouldn't.
Maybe we're giving Harbaugh a hard time here. Maybe pushing the envelope.
He deserves it.
He does deserve it. But the under is probably the safest. You're right, because of style of play. That's
the under's safer. But I like that Western Michigan plus 17. I don't hate it. So that's not something that I would shy away from. I would take Western Michigan plus 17. But the under, you're probably right. The under is the safer play in this game. It should be a little more methodical. Specifically, if Michigan's going to win, which they should, this game should be like a 31-21, something like that, which is well under and slower paced.
All right, here we go. Let's go to West Virginia at Maryland. Maryland is 3-point favorites in this one. You're gonna take the +3 on the Maryland side. West Virginia is actually favored in this one, so you're actually on the Maryland side of this game, and the over/under is 56.5.
I despise this game.
Skip it.
Yeah. This is the same as Northwestern and Michigan State to me. So I'll take the Maryland side because I've seen them just dominate at home at times. But Western Michigan has a much better roster. They should beat up Maryland. But I've seen so many times you say a Big 12 team should go in and beat up Maryland, and Maryland comes out as the victor. So because of that, and probably because of my bias, because I watched them beat Texas twice that I am going to take Maryland plus the points in this game.
Now the truth comes out. There we go. This is the truth, Siri.
But I'm also going to take the under here, 56.5. If West Virginia is smart, they run the ball with Letty Brown all day in this game and keep the ball away from Maryland and run up the score that way. So you get yourself out tonight, 28-7 lead or something like that, and then just sit on the ball. But you want to get some of these guys some experience. You want to get them in rhythm in week 1. So that could make Maryland potentially dangerous. So I'm going to take Maryland plus the 3 and take the under.
This one's pretty close. Texas Tech at Houston. Your thoughts?
Yeah, look, this is another one I don't like, and this is a 1.5 point game here. But I'm going to take Texas Tech, and I know sharp money has been on Houston. Texas Tech has a bunch of new players right now. But I like Tyler Shook, who transferred in from Oregon to lead this Texas Tech squad. Not that I don't like Houston. Clayton Tune is a great quarterback, and this offense can absolutely put up some points. So I'll take the over 64.5. Way more confident in that number than I am Texas Tech minus the 1.5. But I this is a game that you watch at the end of the night on Saturday and just see all the points being scored and love that you have taken the over.
All right, this next one's fascinating because Arizona kind of built themselves up last year. They're going to be hosting BYU. Actually, it's in Las Vegas. Once again, no one seems to be playing anywhere where they're supposed to be playing.
It's opening week. They do that.
Yeah, I understand. But, that's the whole point. I don't like that. If you're going to play in your stadium, you play in your stadium as long as you can, especially after last year where nobody could play anywhere because of COVID and all the stuff going on anyway. But you're a little worried about this, right? You think maybe Arizona is a little too big for its britches and BYU's going to smack them down?
You are confusing Arizona State with Arizona. Arizona
that's what I'm doing.
Is terrible. They are so bad. They should get much better than they were last year, but that would give them up to awful, if they get better. So this is BYU lost a lot. Zach Wilson was huge, but Tyler Algier is coming back. That defense is still pretty strong. This is still a strong BYU squad. They should beat Arizona into the ground. I have no idea why this line is only 12.5. It opened up a little bit too. It started at 11.5. A lot of money coming in on BYU because of this number being so low. I think this is a stomping by BYU. This is my most confident game of the week. I would take BYU. I think it's ridiculous that this line is. And 54, I don't know where that's coming from at all. BYU might score that themselves. So I'm going to take BYU and the over in this game. And I don't mean to disrespect U of A. A lot of friends that live in Tucson that went to U of A and all that stuff, but they're on the right track. But you can't expect the last time they took the field, they lost 70-7 to ASU. So
right, but ASU and I
ASU's
do remember
a good team.
ASU's a good team, and Herm Edwards, and I know my Arizona's from my Arizona States, but Arizona also did. At least theoretically, from everything that you read about classes and things like that, is starting to improve. But
they got a new coach. They got transfers in. They should be better than they were last year. But you can't expect that to start week 1.
I agree. I don't. And now,
can't.
what do you think of where you're at with BYU quarterback-wise this year?
Yeah, Jaron Hall, I think, is going to be fine. And if he's not, if they struggle, they're going to go to the other guys they have there. It was a heated battle. Hall came out. I think they have one of the 9 Romneys as one of their backups there. So, they're going to be okay at quarterback. But I like Jaron Hall, and I just think, I think they're going to beat Arizona into the dirt. I don't think it's going to be close at all.
All right, here we go. Last 2 games here. Notre Dame at Florida State. Sunday, ABC. This should get a lot of national attention, one would imagine. Notre Dame favored by 7.5. The over-under in this one is 55.5 box.
Yeah, and Notre Dame is replacing a lot of production in this. Ian Book is gone. They have new wideouts too. I can't trust Florida State. Florida State has been so bad for so long at this point that they are not going to come anywhere close. I know this is a home game for them. I know they're going to rally around. Bobby Bowden just passed away.
It's going to be very emotional, but I'm with you. I don't think they can compete here.
Yeah, Notre Dame's roster is just way too strong on both sides. And just over the last, 4 years, 5 years, the offensive line has been garbage for Florida State. And that you can't have that going up against Notre Dame. Doesn't matter the names; they're always going to have hogs up front, man. So Notre Dame should dominate this game on the line in the trenches. So give me Notre Dame once again, because they're replacing their starting quarterback in Ian Book, who was like the most winning Notre Dame quarterback of all time, which I just can't believe because I never thought he was that good.
Wow.
Yeah,
that is wow.
It's a weird stat, but Jack Cohn taking over here for them. I have no faith in Florida State. Florida State's got to show it to me first.
It wouldn't shock me if Florida State took the lead early or something like that. Like
sure.
just the sheer raw emotion of this game, being in Florida State before the game, there's going to be a ton of Bobby.
They've got some good players, man. Jashawn Corbin is a great running back. I like Mackenzie Milton. Mackenzie Milton famously is a guy that was the quarterback at UCF who snapped his leg in half, worked all the way back. Probably not going to start this game. I think Jordan Travis is going to start for Florida State, but I would love to see Mackenzie Milton get in there. That'd be a great story. But this to me is Notre Dame and Kyron Williams just running all over Florida State. They should absolutely dominate this defensive line and offensive line. So I got Notre Dame, but I will take the under because once again, you got a new quarterback in there. Sometimes it takes a couple quarters for those guys to warm up. So give me Notre Dame and give me the under here.
When the time expires, Notre Dame, I think, will cover this. So,
yeah,
like I said, it might be a little dicey. Maybe, first quarter, maybe even to the second quarter. Who knows? But I think overtime, Notre Dame wins the war of attrition. Last one, Louisville versus Ole Miss. This one also Sunday night. Your thoughts here on this one, Bob?
This one's actually Monday. I think I wrote this down wrong.
Oh,
it's
on Monday? Oh, okay, yeah. It is on the Monday.
No NFL, so they got tons of games on Thursday, Friday,
so many
Saturday,
games,
Sunday,
all the college
Monday.
football you can handle.
Right.
And then you got Ole Miss at 10.5 favorites here. 75.5 is the over number. That's a huge number there, Boggs. Your thoughts?
Dude, this game is going to be so much fun to watch. This is going to be so fun.
Appointment Monday night viewing.
It really is, man. And this is I don't see how Louisville is going to keep pace scoring with Ole Miss. Ole Miss's offense, led by Matt Corral, is just, I love Jerry Ely. They got Braylon Sanders and a wideout with Mingo as well. This is going to be a fun game to watch. Ole Miss just stack points on points on points on points on points. And their defense, not fantastic, kind of middle of the road for the SEC. They might beat up on Louisville, but as far as the SEC goes, they're not fantastic. So I think this game is going to go over the 75.5. Don't know if I'd bet it. That's an insane number to bet. 75.5. But I like Ole Miss to win this game, and I expect a ton of points to be scored here. Now, I don't know if you can completely count out Mikael Cunningham. He's a good quarterback. He has tons of experience for Louisville, but I don't see how they keep pace with this Ole Miss offense. I think this is going to be Ole Miss and a bunch of points.
Now, of course, don't forget, you can go see all the lines over on BettingPros. Go to bettingpros.com, look for the consensus betting lines, and then find the house that you like the best and put your money where your mouth is, like Scott Bogman always likes to do. Also, week 1 is here. We're excited. Lots of fun games, lots of good narratives. I'm going to have my eye on that Miami-Alabama game. I want to see with my own eyes if Miami is
De'Aaron King's going to make some plays in that game that make you go,
King. I've watched De'Aaron King. I know. I've seen it. It's Alabama. And look, if he does it, great. I want to come back here and be like, well, hey, Miami's for real. Let's go. And look, even if they get blown out by Alabama, I don't know if that's the
they can still be a good team. Yeah,
they can still be a very good team. So
that's not the cap on their season. You're right.
It is not the cap on their. We're just getting started. So are they. Mm-hmm. It's a long season. Let's be kind.
It's week 1 for everybody.
Kind. It's week 1 for everybody. There you go.
Yeah, I won't even call for Jim Harbaugh to get fired this week. So.
I will. I just fire him now.
Maybe Scott Frost, but
there's
a
part of me that wants to watch that game just because I'm a glutton for punishment to watch Michigan just squirm in that game a little bit, because at one point that game is going to be too close for comfort, and that's going to be musty television box.
You love it when he gets his khakis all crinkled up. Do you?
When his khakis are in a bunch. Sign me up. That's what I want. You can follow him on the Twitter machine at Bogman Sports. Follow me at Joe Pisapia 17, and of course subscribe to Betting Pros podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And that's it. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on here in college football week 1. For Scott Bogman, I'm Joe Pisapia. We'll see you next time, kids.